Holmes, what happened?
I feel deathly.
And you look it. Let me examine you. Please don't tell me that you've returned to your old habits. The temperature appears to be normal. The pupil is dilated. I need to concentrate and count the heartbeats. I need to concentrate and count the heartbeats. But you're dying, Holmes. Your pulse rate is dropping. We need to get you to the hospital immediately.
The antidote. Give it to me.
The antidote? You mean that you're poisoned?
Now. Please.
Here, drink it all. Don't tell me that you did this to yourself.
Hemlock and datura. I was compelled to.
Holmes, imagine if I'd not returned home when I did. What might have happened?
I knew that you would.
Mr. Holmes, Inspector Lestrade is here to see you.
Mr. Holmes is unable to see anyone at the moment. He is unwell.
A good day, Inspector.
Ah, Mr. Holmes. I'm glad to find you here. I need your help. This is a strange one. We have brought in 2 young bankers from the city, sons of lords, members of the chamber, and so on and so forth. They were found stranded in a rowing boat that was drifting on the Thames.
A romantic escapade with an unhappy ending, Lestrade.
What? Well, yes, they were both in the bath, but... what?
As I said.
And they were tied together.
You are lacking in imagination, Inspector.
Well, no, I'm not. Anyway, there was a banner flapping about in the boat with the RMS Oceanic printed on it and signed by the Merry Men.
The Oceanic? Isn't that the largest steamer ever built?
Yes. And these 2 young banker chaps are sons of the owners of the White Star Line, the company that built it. There are rumours of corruption.
I'm not interested in politics, Lestrade.
I'll keep it then. Here's another one that's a bit more complex and maybe to your liking. It's a murder, but we're unable to find any weapon. We haven't touched anything. It's at the Roman Baths in Strand Lane.
A murder, a vanishing weapon, the Roman Baths. That's for us. Watson, fetch your hat.
Beautiful place.
With a dreadful murder. The body of Sir Rodney Bentcliffe is still in the steam room. It has not been touched, per your usual instructions, Mr. Holmes. I shall be waiting for you here, but please hurry.
Are you able to identify the men who were with the victim in the steam room?
Yes. The manager of the bath, Sir Gregory Pitkin, a lad from the City Council, Garrow, and an archaeologist by the name of Blinkhorn. I think the plump one, Garrow, did it. He doesn't seem right in the head.
Well, we shall see. You found no murder weapon?
No, and that's why I called you. All 3 witnesses and the victim were locked in when the murder occurred, and they remained so until we got here. We even had to pick the lock to enter.
I see. Was there anyone else here, apart from those gentlemen in the steam room?
Yes, a Mr. Phillips. He was the one who called the police. He'll be able to give you more details.
Good day to you, Mr. Phillips. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my colleague, Dr. Watson. Would you be so kind as to answer our questions?
Certainly, sir.
Please tell us the chain of events from the start of your day. Everything that you can remember. The slightest detail may be of importance.
Very well, sir. I came in at 6:30 this morning, and I opened the baths. I made sure that the room was clean, and I prepared the towels. The brazier was still burning.
There was a fire burning all night.
Yes, Sir Gregory ordered me to light the brazier yesterday. It takes some time until the room is fully heated. The gentlemen had a meeting at 9 o'clock this morning. I wanted everything to be perfect. They'd been in the steam room for 20 minutes when I suddenly heard shouting. I ran to the door, but it was closed. I couldn't open it. So I ran out to the street to call for the police. One constable came up, and then there were others, and they picked the lock. Then Inspector Lestrade came along, and he told us that nothing should be touched.
Did you receive any other visitors this morning?
No one. Until these gentlemen arrived. Sir Gregory was the first. And then, while we were discussing work details, Sir Rodney and Mr. Blinkhorn arrived, and Mr. Garrow followed.
What happened after that?
I waited until they'd all entered the steam room, then I returned to the hall. The changing room door was open, so I should hear if they needed anything.
You would have heard if someone had entered or left the steam room.
Certainly, sir. These doors make a lot of noise.
The steam room's on the other side, Mr. Holmes.
Champagne for a special occasion? Unopened, it was intended to be enjoyed after the steam session. An ice bucket to keep the champagne chilled. Expensive clothes belonging to one of the men from the steam room. These clothes belong to one of the suspects from the steam room. Clothes belonging to one of the suspects.
Good Lord, Holmes.
Death with a peculiarly Roman piquancy.
Like the one you almost had an hour ago.
Let us forget about that.
There was only one hit from the weapon. It pierced the right eye straight through to the brain. Death would have been instantaneous.
Look, Watson. He was wearing a ring. He very likely removed it before the steam session. Some dirt or earth. I'll take a sample.
Well, death is very recent, between 30 minutes to 1 hour ago.
The wound should not have bled so profusely. This pool is rather large. I think we have found all that we can here, taking into consideration the abysmal lighting. Constable, we have finished with the body.
We don't have many leads here.
What concerns me is that we still have to find the murder weapon.
Mr. Holmes?
Please have the body removed without disturbing anything else in the room.
All right, Mr. Holmes.
I was wondering, Holmes, it's fairly reckless to carry out a murder inside a closed chamber. Why do you suppose they did it?
There are a great many possibilities. The murderer was in a hurry, or he is an artist, or a ghost, or he wanted to ensure that I'd be brought in on the case.
Probably the latter. You are ridiculous, do you know that?
I should check this blood sample at Baker Street. This key was covered in blood. I should ask Phillips about it. With the steam on, I'm unable to see even a few feet away. One lens is cracked, probably due to the temperature of the brazier. These lenses are for myopia. The wearer is short-sighted. The brazier is still burning. The heat here is extreme. It is too hot. I cannot reach into it. I will need something to pick up this melted metal.
Mr. Holmes?
It's horrible. So Rodney, he's dead. God,
I'm in shock. I don't want to talk.
It's horrible. I can't talk at the moment.
The grid cannot be removed. The weapon is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Holmes, I should like to take the suspects to the yard. You can interrogate them there. Any objections?
None, Lestrade. How many people have keys to the steam room?
We have just the one key for now, which Sir Gregory gave to me.
So, this morning you opened the steam room, and then?
I put the key inside my desk, but when they called, I couldn't find it. It had disappeared. I don't know where it is.
Did you leave the baths at any time, or receive any visitors?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you leave the baths at any time or receive any visitors?
No, sir, I did not.
You are not telling the truth, Mr. Phillips. You left your work this morning, and you went to the post office, where you dispatched a telegram at around 7:30.
But how could you... No,
The telegram was for someone in Manchester.
Mr. Holmes, it's I'll tell you everything. I left the baths at 7:20. My sister wrote to me yesterday, and she needed a reply, or our mother is unwell. I was away for 20 minutes, and I closed the baths on my way out.
Did you receive a reply from your sister?
No, she wasn't meant to. I just told her to pawn my old school uniform so that she could pay for the medication.
Did you check to see if the key was still in your desk when you returned?
No, I didn't. Please, Mr. Holmes, don't tell the police about this. Sir Gregory would give me the sack. I need this job.
I see. There is a bottle of champagne on ice in the changing room. Do you have any idea who left it there?
There is? Are you quite certain? I didn't pay any attention. Do you believe that it's important?
This area serves as Sir Rodney Bentcliffe's workshop. This area serves as Sir Rod... Tools used by archaeologists in their research. I will need these tongs. Archaeological findings. Old clay pots with numbers inscribed upon them. A shape has been cut in the plate. What should be done with it? Archaeological findings. Old clay pots with numbers inscribed upon them. Glass plate negatives. A remarkable method for recording ancient civilizations. A glass plate negative is missing. It is a glass plate negative of an Egyptian statue.
My God, are you all right? I wonder how this could have happened.
Yes, it is somewhat treacherous. Fortunately, I am unscathed. To where does this corridor lead?
To the frigidarium, the coal room.
Barely unscathed and by a very small margin. And treacherous is an understatement. Those stones weigh tons. We won't move them.
It does not matter. If our investigation requires it, we shall ask for them to be removed. I should analyze this melted metal. An embroidered silk handkerchief. A fountain pen with solid gold trim. Sir Gregory Pitkin's visiting card. When Garrow found Sir Rodney dead, he wiped the blood upon himself. A phial with herbs. Do you know what it is, my dear fellow?
It's the St. John's wort flower, Holmes. It's commonly used as a drug against melancholia. However, an overdosage might lead to a rash or even hallucinations.
An ordinary pencil. A hand-drawn map. Rodney Bentcliffe's notebook. It may contain something of interest. The last pages were torn out. We must find a way of retrieving Sir Rodney's last lines. Watson, please prevent anyone from entering the room. But first, fetch me a pencil. To begin with, a few strokes of the pencil will be enough. I don't want to damage the traces. And then to gently smudge the leftover pencil marks with a handkerchief. I'm sure that Watson won't mind if I use his.
Mr. Holmes, the coroner... But what are you doing? Tampering with the evidence?
I prefer to make them talk. Today, I almost found it. This date will go down in history. Sir Rodney was about to make an outstanding discovery.
Wonderful.
I could retrieve only the final words. The rest of it is lost. Perhaps the autopsy will assist us in that matter.
I'm not sure that I can allow you to inspect the body now.
I am sure that you must, Constable.
Well...
This ring was most likely the one that Sir Rodney wore. He removed it before entering the steam room. An Egyptian symbol. It is a very old jewel. I see the join. This ring was repaired, and quite badly too, with silver.
Why on earth would they wear such a ring?
A very pertinent question. An old and rather dirty coin.
According to the coroner, there were no cardiac problems nor lung congestion, but there were traces of fungus, possibly contracted from the Egyptian tombs. The coroner observed no stomach nor liver disease, if we're to accept that Sir Rodney was an occasional drinker and 63 years of age. An unusual wound, inflicted by a curved knife, which resulted in instant death, as the coroner's report says.
The bruising is in lines. Some light bruising, caused by a rope. They were caused by a rope around the waist. Sir Rodney was descending somewhere. Locked. Please escort this suspect for interrogation. Good day to you, sir. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and I am assisting the police with their investigation of the murder of Sir Rodney Bentcliffe. Would you mind if I asked you a few questions?
Not at all, Mr. Holmes. My name is Percival Blinkhorn.
What is your occupation?
I'm an archaeologist, specializing in the Roman period. I'm working on several excavation sites at present, including the baths at Strand Lane.
Can you tell me more about the baths?
Well, we're hoping to retrieve a great many interesting artifacts from the site, and to list any items of value before their eventual restoration and exhibition.
And has it been successful?
It has, thanks to Sir Rodney.
What was your relationship with Sir Rodney?
Well, I couldn't say that he was a kind man, no. But he was talented. I felt a great admiration for him, I must say.
Was it your first collaboration?
I had met Sir Rodney briefly once in Egypt, and I'd shared my researches with him. Surprisingly, my work did convince him to come here. He arrived only a couple of months ago.
Surprisingly?
Well, Sir Rodney was a cold man, and so very secretive, too. But I learned so much from him. I can't believe that he's dead.
Can you tell me what you saw today?
Well, we entered the steam room, and we all went to sit down. The steam was particularly dense, and I didn't see anything much further after that. I just heard Mr. Garrow shouting, but we all ran for the door and bumped into each other. I was very alarmed by this point.
What did you do?
Well, the door was stuck, and with all the steam, it was quite frightening. I was barely able to see my own feet. Garrow was covered in blood.
Do you believe that Garrow killed Sir Rodney?
Oh, no. Garrow couldn't harm a fly.
Can you recall any recent event that would occur to you now as being a little strange?
Well, yesterday we had a small argument.
Is that all?
No. Sir Rodney informed me that he was to attend the London Archaeological Congress with me. Then he advised me of quite the opposite. And rather aggressively, too.
Do you recognize this ring?
Certainly. It's the famous Aswan ring. Sir Rodney brought it back from his last campaign in Egypt.
And he kept it for himself?
Sir Rodney has had his own particular ideas of archaeology.
What can you tell me about Garrow?
Well, he always looks so sad, and he has been acting strangely lately. He complains about voices and visions. I will keep an eye on him because I'm worried.
How well were your researches progressing before Sir Rodney's arrival?
Rather well.
How well were your researches progressing before Sir Rodney's arrival?
Rather well.
How well were your researches progressing before Sir Rodney's arrival?
Rather well.
This letter reveals that Sir Gregory was prepared to put a stop to your work.
Yes. But since Sir Rodney's arrival, he had calmed down. He allowed us to work. I'm not sure what they agreed on.
What will happen now that Sir Rodney is dead?
Well, I haven't thought about that. But if it's needed, I will fight to defend Sir Rodney's expectations.
Did you place the bottle of champagne in the changing room?
No, I did not.